Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to Inside the Firm. I am your main host, the Big Shabam, Big Al Gore. That's my name. I was going to say Big Al Gore McCarthy. That's from UFC fighter stuff, if you know that. I'm here with...
Small something.
Just a guy that just keeps hanging around me. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's still here.
Why are you here?
And we gotta pay him.
Lance Cayko.
Welcome me.
Welcome you. If you are Lance and you can't do anything without a computer, I would suggest you get a Dell. And you can get a Dell by visiting... it's Dell.com/inside the firm.
Bam.
Get your Dell there.
Get
you
your Dell
can get
there.
discounts. They're having a new discount going on right now until I think it's till the end of the month. If you can also go to InsideTheFirmPodcast.com and it will have that deal on there. I just know that they're running a special for you right now.
Make that happen. Speaking of working, you're probably still working remotely. A lot of us are. We're going into like the second lockdown. When will the insanity end? Who knows? Keep praying. I don't know. Do what you got to do. Are the logistics of putting together a project daunting when no one is in the same room? Probably. And how are you going to do that? Can't just all be Zoom, right? So you have to have some.
You can't be Zoom in 24.
You got to figure it out. So ArtCat has a solution for you. ArtCat Charrette allows you to manage projects and specification documents online with multiple team members while you're maybe on Zoom. Discuss products, configurations, outline specs, project photos, and documents, and more on one page. Along with the ability to access product information, specs, CAD, BIM, and the patented Spec Wizard from anywhere in the world, Charrette can help your firm get more done no matter where you or the rest of your firm is. You can even promote your firm's project when you are done. And just like all of ArtCat's solution, it's completely free to use. That's right, Al, F-R-E-E.
Spells free.
So check it out, artcat.com/projects. That's artcat.com/projects. Visit artcat.com, ARCAT.com to start building better projects today.
If you're a person who works at a firm and you do a lot of commercial work, and you're like, I want to design some residential work, and I want to up my residential Revit game. There's one way to do it. If you are not in a firm and you just don't know Revit at all, the same thing applies. But I think there's some of you out there. It's a little bit different, and you can do things a little bit more nuanced and different from your firm. Go to RevitRocketShip.com, where yours truly trains you how to model like it gets built, which is a key component of how you can successfully take on more responsibility, thus giving more reward. And I'll go into that in a little bit. But we train other professionals, we train students, we train every one of our staffs through this system. You get our template that we use at RevitRocketShip.com. Okay, the more responsibility part. We have 5 people that are signed up for our course.
You're kidding.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep, and this is basically going from architect to builder and starting off on a residential project, right? So you'll learn basically the steps that we do during architecture to make sure that we secure the best client, make sure that we secure a great return on the residential projects, and then how we organize those projects, and basically a walkthrough of every 2 weeks, a snapshot of what to look for, what not to miss. And I mean, like, there's things that we'll say in there that will save you a $10,000 budget item.
100%.
That you need to either get the client to pay for, or somehow like even split. Or
let's say they want a polished concrete floor. Don't do it.
Well, and we'll talk about the ways to do it and what not to do.
Right. I'm teasing, but yes.
But honestly, so it's normally $1,000. It's going to be half price if you email me akg@f9productions.com for this first crew. So get on in that. That's what I got.
I love it. Here's what I've got, Al. not much to talk about other than I would like to. So we're at kind of a nice plateau with F9, really, I think.
Yep.
And F14, which is the construction arm, and that is we're up to a staff of 11, and we're actually we just hired somebody, and we're actually going to hire one more person in the middle of all this nonsense with 2020. And how did we get there, right? So I wanted to, I would like to just kind of do like a recap episode. That's what I'm going to call it. So one question I have for you is, over the past 10 years, it took 10 years to get here. What is one thing you would have done differently?
It's funny. There's one huge thing, and the big thing is the unknown. And it's not just for yourself, it's for your staff. So we just got comments back from the city, and they were, and I told you about it, they were so dumb that it was literally they told us
black to gray, gray to white,
Yep.
kind of like comments about line weights and stuff.
Yep. And it was also like, oh, put this tag here, and then you'd put it there, and then they'd say, and then they'd tell them to move the tag, like literally to move the tag, or put this number here, and then the next comment, 2 months later would be, oh, that's the wrong number, when they told you what to put there. And he was like, am I dumb? What's going on?
Am I dumb?
No. This is for sure them. So it would be great, and we can't always do this, but maybe we can do this now. So think about what I just talked about with doing a residential course, right? It's
residential build course.
Yep, it's going to be super, super helpful, especially for our staff if we say, hey, Jason or Bob or whoever, you take over the next one. We have this lined up for you, and you can even watch like 2 weeks ahead, like 2 to 3, 4 steps ahead, and then just like learn while you're doing. Man, would it be great? And we couldn't do this because like you said, like I was taking on some of the bigger projects. If there was something like that for like each kind of type, it would be amazing. Like I wonder if huge firms have that, and I doubt that. I honestly doubt that they do. So let's say they do like one firm we know does a lot of hockey stadiums. Like you should tell the guy that's done 5 of them, okay, now while you're doing it, record what you do every 2 weeks, record what happens, record, like keep it to an hour or something like that. And now when
just as a recap.
Now when like on the next hockey one, when you have the next guy that's going to take a charge or someone just joining it, be like, okay, you're going to, like, here you go. We're doing a hockey stadium. This was me. Like, there's so many things that me and you can see because we went through it that people can't see. So what I'm getting at now is like, okay, I don't know if that answers your question, but let's say there was something unique, like a restaurant. Let's say you get a brand new restaurant from scratch. Say one of your guys is doing it. And then it's like, okay, we're going to do that. And then we know we can't bill for this, but every 2 to 3 weeks or every time you do like half of a phase, you're going to do a recap video and show what you did, why you did it, what's going on. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. But how would you have done that differently when we didn't have anything built?
Well, that's why I said this doesn't answer your question. So how?
Al, typical Al, classic Al.
Okay. I think there are some good things. What would you have done differently?
Said no more often. In hindsight, I would have said no more often. I would have said, and I can give you examples because these examples that we've talked about on the podcast. One that really haunts me, and it haunts me because I'm like, God, that was such a. Why did I say yes? We needed the work. Well, that's the thing. Is it want versus need? I mean, when you're a business owner, you're trying to line up, especially if you're doing service or even product, doesn't matter, but you're trying to line up and get the demand going and get the contracts so you can keep people staffed, you can keep growing, keep being profitable. The one that haunts me the most is when I said yes to we're going to pay you all the money up front to do our house. All the money to do up front to our house. And it just puts all the leverage on back over to them. And it's not a working relationship that's comfortable anymore, right?
Yeah.
Because I like phasing. I like billing as we go, according to the phase, and having clear stopping points. So that's one of them. And then there are other clients too, where like I can't believe it took 8, 9, 10 years, right around there, to get comfortable saying no. And now I'm really comfortable saying no. and like to not have my autistic streak literally come out when clients want to mark up contracts. This is another one. Like, what am I doing wasting my time? Just instantly say no.
Yep.
To that.
And if you haven't heard this one, there's a difference between someone reading through a contract and like asking or changing one line or two lines. Like barely ever happens, right?
Even then,
I know. It's yellow alert.
Yellow alert.
It's yellow alert. Like just a whole bunch of markups. It's red alert.
Say no.
Red alert.
Yeah.
Red alert.
So that's what mine would be. I wish I would have said no more often because like for the house that they gave us all the money, it's like we had to give almost all of it back anyway. Who gives a shit? It was we made a couple $1,000s. You know, that's nothing in the scheme of, you know, when you get 6 to 10 people deep into a firm, that's costs a lot of money to employ people, insure them, make any profit. You lose money in projects, stuff like that.
Yep. I think I would also want to say it's hard because I don't have a pure answer for this. I'd want more passive, unrisk income.
I like how Alex is answering these questions in theory.
I know.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Because there was some projects that like we maybe shouldn't have taken, but I remember the instance and I remember the pressure on the money, and it was, if we don't have this 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 project, like we're getting like there was thin times, and you know, like it was never close to the bank account like zero or even 10 or 20, 30,000, but there was some 30,000, you know, bank account moments.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think our best mistake was?
I want to say this project. This development. Because if we do a course on development, I think the nuggets that we'll be able to drop.
And I want to clarify where I think Alex is coming from, and he can correct me if he's wrong, obviously. But it was so much risk for so little return.
Yes.
That's why it was a mistake. That's why it was our best mistake, because like we didn't lose everything. We made a little bit. We have a really cool building. You know, there's something. The confidence it gives. Again, we've said it before. Like the confidence it gives people when we're sitting at the mezzanine table where we have most of our business meetings, and maybe we are starting to try to get people to. There are design clients, then we want to flip them into architecture clients. It's easy. It's so much easier. It's just a no-brainer at that point for them. But man, was that a lot. So I don't know.
But also the physical work. Like besides the risk to the reward, like it was a lot of work.
You know what I tell my wife? I'm like,
what?
That was my midlife crisis project. Like I just had to get it out of my system. And then honestly, Alex, here's another reason why I think that I would agree with you. This was our best mistake, because I was talking to Matt Perry. Shout out, he never listens. On the way down to the farm, he's one of our buddies from college.
Yeah.
And he was asking how things were going, and I told him about all the contracting work, and I told him about the margin, and I told him about how it's allowed us to expand. If architecture work gets a little slow, we can pull people into the field, vice versa, blah blah blah. And I was like. Because this project wasn't as profitable as we hoped it could be. It forced us to get a Class B contractor's license, and we wouldn't have turned the barn into a construction project. And then I felt like, and I still do. I'm like, well, I can't let this just go to waste. It seems like a waste not to use that contractor's license and leverage it,
right,
and move ahead. So.
And then also, I would agree with all that. But going back, let me throw another question on you. You know what you would have done differently. You said you would have said no, and I almost said that too. But I like, for the ones I'm thinking about, I just remember the financial positions. But do you think that that's like going forward, because not only are we asking these questions, but they're supposed to inform the future. So how hardline do you stand on those no's? Like let's say say coronavirus keeps going, money keeps dipping. You have a contract that the person has, just a couple they're in the yellow, right? And if you had a bunch of money, you'd say no, but you don't now. And you know that, like, so do you then say, hey, this was my, recap, this is what I was thinking, let's say no. But it's not like you look at a bunch of other architecture firms too. Some of them take a whole bunch of bread and butter work and then have a couple stars. Some of them, like, I'm thinking about Leapskin. I don't know if they take much bread and butter. They only take,
None.
Yeah. But, I mean, I was laid off from there. There's a risk from there. They didn't, not that they could have in the recession going after remodels and flips, or anything like that. They're just not set up that way.
I'm going to try to be a hard ass about it.
Yep. Even
during this weird time, even maybe in a future weird time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know the pain that I know the pain and the stress that comes out from not saying no and just dreading projects, me, staff.
Yep.
Not worth it. It's easy. It's also easy to say, I think, when you're established. That's why I wanted to stress that this is like, this is 10 years coming, this conversation. Like, I think about the network we have, and how we market and everything, and the reach that we have specifically over Colorado. Like, I don't know, I've been getting inquiries all the way down south, like south of Denver. And for reference, that's 2.5 hours away. So, yeah, that's that. What do you think our best decision was?
Besides kind of starting the books and starting out the business right first, I think that was great.
Oh, making the bank accounts.
Making the bank account, setting it up, taking a salary. Because if we didn't do that right away, it could have been 2 years before we decided to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
what a nightmare.
What
a nightmare that would have been.
Yep. So that's my first one. What's
this is kind of a mistake, but it was the best decision. The best decision we had was the first full-time employee we ever hired was older than us. And why that was a good decision was because I don't think it proves, for me, it didn't prove that seniority means much in terms, if you're just looking at age is just a number. And it taught us a lesson that, like, we can't assume anybody knows anything that they put down on paper. You can assume so much, but at the end of the day, if you're still not bringing them in and fundamentally training them in the way it established, like, we got to train everybody.
Yes.
Then we have to set up the training system. We have to, like, there has to be standards. Okay, good.
Yep.
Good, because yeah, that for me, that was our best decision.
Yeah, I would couple that and say also going to see you and asking how we could help, and then they saying, do you want to teach? And then we said yes.
And why is that?
Because then it really forced us to. It was probably around the same time when it was like, I physically can't be at work, so it made me more comfortable with handing things off, and then also with just, we need someone in the office because we just can't be there.
Yep.
So I feel like you could, I don't know how you would do this. It's if you had an office, but if you're just starting off, you don't have an office. But we kind of did after. It took us a while. But what if you forced yourself, like every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 a.m. to noon, that you can only work on your business, but like you're stacked to the gills with other billable stuff. So you hire your first part-time person to at least work those days. Like, I almost think it would be a great forcing function.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it really is. It just forced us.
Like, you can't take phone calls, even though, like, we do sometimes now. Because
dude, it's nerve-wracking. Even still hire, not as bad as it was, but you still worry about, like, when you bring somebody on, do you have enough work? And this was a conversation that was had in the Entre Architect community the other day. And I think I said it on the podcast, maybe not. Either way, it was like, you gotta have 3 to 4 projects ready to go, lined up when somebody gets here. Then they're on top of them, get them in the mix. Once they're in the mix, things seem to flow well. Of course, the economy has your ability to get work has to be pretty steady. I get worried about these people that We're just doing one house a quarter. Man, that's scary. I don't know. For me, anyway. Maybe their fees are bigger.
Yeah.
Who knows? What do you think our best friend, what do you think his best and worst decision is?
I think he'll tell us.
All right, here we go.
Hello, best friends. I hope you all had a great week this week. A reading. My goal, if I was going to do art, fine art, would have been to become Picasso or greater. That always sounds so funny to people, comparing yourself to someone in the past that has done so much. And in your life, you're not even allowed to think that you can do as much. That's a mentality that suppresses humanity. Kanye West. Toodles!
I knew he would have been an artist.
Kanye?
That was his best decision.
Yeah.
Nick, be an artist.
Nick, be Picasso plus Kanye all rolled up in one.
You know Kanye dropped out?
I did.
That's sad.
Did you see what else?
No.
Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, said, "Are you sad that Kanye dropped out or that Tom Cruise got into the race?" Have you seen this?
Is this real? Because I saw the commercial. Is it funny?
It's not real.
Oh, okay.
It's
or like a tweet or whatever.
No. So it's either his body double or just like a guy that like parodies him because he looks so much like Tom Cruise. So we're gonna pause this and Lance is gonna watch it, and then you guys do the same thing. So it was Tom Cruise 2020. That's the video you have to look up and watch. And if he did run, they're like, this was the best ad that they could have ever made.
I agree. He'd get a lot of votes.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring the guys down. A.R.E. Jeopardy. Oh, it's my questions first. All right, here we go. Number one, the type of retaining wall that uses perpendicular buttresses, usually combined with a cantilever wall, is A, buttress wall, B, cantilevered buttress wall, C, counterfort wall, D, classical retaining wall. Anybody need a repeat? Just the question. What is the type of retaining wall that uses perpendicular buttresses, usually combined with a cantilever wall? A, buttress wall, B, cantilevered buttress wall, C, counterfort wall, D, classical retaining wall. I'm going to start over here. C, B, and B. Mark is right. C.
Counterfort wall was the answer.
Counterfort wall. Number two, what are the three forms of intrusion detection? So you have to pick three of them, okay?
Ooh, okay.
A, perimeter protection, B, area or room protection, C, surface protection, D, object protection. What are the three forms of intrusion detection? A, perimeter...
You can just mark the one that's not it.
You could, but that would make it easy. It's got to be A.R.E. It's got to be the craziest stuff ever. NCARB writing this stuff. A, perimeter protection. B, area or room protection. C, surface protection. D, object protection. Mark has A, B, D. We have A, B, D. ABC, ABD.
So, yep. If you had C, you were wrong. Surface protection was wrong. So it was perimeter, area, room, or object.
Al Gore.
Okay. Windows closer than 24 inches to the door blank have to be tempered. To the door hinge, the door swing, the doorway, or the door handle.
I like the way part.
D. So A is door hinge, B is door swing, C is doorway, D is door handle.
What do we got?
A and then C. The answer is C, doorway. Doorway. So that's why the windows over there didn't have to be tempered, because it's just the opening of the door.
And not the swing.
Not the swing,
Yeah.
not the door, not any of that, okay? That's very good to know. How are preliminary costs of a project estimated? A, cost per construction type. B, cost per square foot. C, cost per division. Or D, cost based on historical precedents. A, cost per construction type. B, cost per square foot. C, cost per division. D, cost per historical precedents. Three.
Time's up.
B, C, A, B. The correct answer is B, cost per square foot.
Who won?
3, 2, 1.
Goose egg. Goose egg.
All right, Mark Pedler win. Where are we going? Where is everyone that's listening going to lunch or supper? Runza. Great idea. Runza. Mark Pedler said Runza.
Terrible
So,
idea.
If you do not like Runza and you rather learn Revit, go to RevitRocketShip.com. The only way out of going to Runza is go to RevitRocketShip.com. Learn your Revit right
And
there.
the only thing that deserves a 5-star review is the podcast, Inside the Firm podcast that you just listened to. So go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review. See you next week.